Hello guys, welcome to my channel Create Knowledge. In this video, we will learn how to create Hibernate configuration file, that is hibernate.cfg.xml, and how to add dependencies in pom.xml file. And the most important, how to use key annotations in Hibernate, and I will make a student management program by using the key annotations. Before start of coding, I want to give brief descriptions about the Hibernate. Hibernate framework key concepts. Introduction to Hibernate. Hibernate is a powerful ORM framework that simplifies database interactions in Java applications. Simplifies database interaction by mapping Java classes to database table. Eliminate the need for complex SQL queries in Java applications. Core feature of Hibernate: lightweight framework, easy to integrate into any Java project. Transparent persistence. No need to manually handle database calls for CRUD operations. Database independence, support multiple databases like MySQL, Postgres, SQL, Oracle, etc. HQL, Hibernate query language, and object-oriented query language for querying data. Caching provides first level and second level caching for better performance. Hibernate architecture. Session factory, a factory for session object create once and use throughout the application. And I'll show how to create session factory and session. Session, a lightweight object used in interact with the database. That I'll also tell you. And second is transaction. Manage unit of work operation to ensure data integrity. Query used to perform database operations like fetching or updating data. Key annotations is the most important part. @entity, @table, @id, @generate value, @column. @entity marks a class as a Hibernate entity. @table specifies the table name in the database. You can rename the table by using table. ID marks primary key field of the entity. Generated value specify how the primary key values generated. Column map a field to column in the database table. I will use all the annotations in this project. Hibernate configuration. Use hibernate.cfg.xml or hibernate.properties for database and session factory configuration. Define properties like database URL, username, password, and dialect. All the properties you have to fill in Hibernate configuration. CRUD operation. Create, use session.save entity to persist data. Read, use session.get class ID or HQL for data retrieval. Update, modify the object and use sessions.update entity. Delete, use session.delete entity to remove the record. Hibernate versus JPA. Hibernate is an implementation of the Java Persistence API, JPA specifications. While JPA is standard, Hibernate provides extend features beyond JPA. Now, I am going to start my project student management by using all key annotations, and I'll use Hibernate configuration, and I will use configuration of pom.xml and how to add the dependencies in pom.xml. Now I am going to open my Eclipse ID and do this project for you. Student management project for you. Now I am going to open my Eclipse ID. Now I have opened my Eclipse ID. Now click on File, New, Maven project, and click on Next. Here, Catalog, Internal, I am going to choose org Apache Maven archetype Maven archetype quick start 1.1 and click on next. Here I am giving the group ID is com.createknowledge.crk create knowledge, and artifact ID I am giving hibernate. Artifact ID is project name hibernate underscore config underscore annotation. And here package name is going to high, so I'm now going to write delete this portion hibernate. Okay, now click on finish. Now Eclipse is creating my project, and here write yes and enter. Hibernate underscore config underscore annotation project is created. Now you see here in pom.xml I'll put the dependencies. Click on pom.xml. This is my pom.xml. Here I'll put the dependencies. So now for dependency I have to go Google Chrome. Right here hibernate core maven dependency. Core maven dependency. Click here. Repository. Click here. Take the dependencies. I'll take 5.6.15. This is final. You always choose for final option. Don't go for alpha or beta. So now I'm going to choose 5.6.15. Click here and copy this dependency. Copy this link. Ctrl C and open your Eclipse ID. Here I'm going to put the dependency. Dependency is 5.6.15. And another dependency I will take MySQL dependency. So again I'm going to open my Google Chrome browser. Here I'm going to write MySQL connector Maven dependencies. Click here. MySQL connector Java Maven repository. Click here. Here I'm using MySQL version is 8. Now I show you. Minimize this window and you here MySQL workbench. My MySQL version is 8.0. You see it is 8.0. So I'll go for 8.0. This is 8.0, 8.0.33. Click here and copy the link, paste, and I'm going to save here. If anything error, then I'll get the error. So there is no error. Okay, that means I am put the exact dependency. Now I'm going to close this pom.xml file. Now here I'm going to create a class file. Click src main java. Here you see com.crk is there. Here I'm going to make a new class file. Class. I'm giving the name of my class file is student and click on finish. Now you see package name is com.crk and public class student is created. Now I am going to create object private int role. Private int role. Because role is integer type, so private int role. Private string name. Private string name. Private int age. Private int age and private string gender and private date admission. Private date admission and private boolean attendance. Private boolean attendance. Okay. Now I have to make a 3 constructor. One is default constructor, one is parameterized constructor, and getter and setter. First I am going to create the default constructor. Right click here, go to source, constructor, generate. This is default constructor. and parameterize constructor. Right click again, go to source, parameterize constructor, select all, generate. This is my parameterize constructor, and I'll make getter and setter. Again, go to source, here is getter and setter. Click on getter and setter and select all and generate. And I've generated getter and setter. I've completed the constructor. Now I have to use annotation. Annotation, public class student, it will create the table in the name of student. So here I'm going to do, I'll put annotation entity at the rate entity, and I have to import entity Java X persistence. Okay, and now I'm telling one thing. Now I'm going to rename my table. So here I'm going to write use annotation table at the rate table, and here I pass the table name. Name is equal to student 001. So my table, when it will create table, the table name will be student 001. So now I have to import table Java X persistence. Okay. Now here I'll use annotation in int private int role. Role is integer type and it is a ID. So I'll write at the rate ID. Here I have to import ID Java X persistence, and here ID. Now I'll do one thing. I want roll number should be auto increment or auto increment ID roll. So I'll use generated value annotation. I'll use annotation generated value, and I'll pass here strategy is equal to generation type auto. Strategy is equal to generation type dot auto. And now again I have to import generated value Java X persistence. So it will automatically auto incremented value of roll number. And I'll put the column name. So I'll use annotation column, and here I'll pass name is equal to student roll, student underscore roll. So my column name will be student roll. So now I take the import column Java X persistence. Okay, so in roll here I'll use annotation ID. I have used annotation generated value for auto increment, and I use column name. I'll write the column name. Column name should be student roll. Okay, now second part is private string name. Here I'll use column name student name at the rate column, and I'll pass name is equal to student name, student underscore name. And after that, age. For age, I'll put the column name student age. So again, I'll use annotation column, and I'll pass name is equal to student age, student underscore age. After that, gender. For gender, I will fix the, suppose male or female, you cannot change the gender, so I will use here transient. If you use annotation transient, then you cannot change the value of when you use transient. At the rate transient. Now I have to import transient. Import transient Java X persistence. Date of admission. First I will use column name at the rate column name is equal to admission date. Admission underscore date. Okay. Date should be present date. Whenever put the date, it should be present date. So I will use temporal and temporal type dot date. So I'll use annotation temporal. I'll use temporal and I'll pass temporal type dot date. Type dot date. Dot date. Okay. So now I have to import one temporal. Import temporal Java X dot persistence. After that, I'll use column name attendance. Attendance is Boolean type. It is true and false. That means he is present or not. So here I use type, annotation type. Annotation type. Here I'll pass type is equal to yes underscore no. Import type org hibernate annotation. Here I'm getting one red mark on date. So I have to import date Java util. So now there is no error. That means I have completed in student class. Now I am going to configure Hibernate. For configuration of Hibernate, I have to make a hibernate.cfg.xml. Before that, I want to tell you one thing. I have used this annotation. Now here you see, I have used annotation entity, table, ID, generated value, and column. All the key annotations I have used in this project. Now I am going to configure Hibernate. Now I am going to create hibernate.cfg.xml. This is the important for Hibernate project. So right click on src main Java, new. Here you see there is no XML file. So I will go for other, and here you write XML, and click on next. Here I have to put the XML file name. I'll make the file name hibernate.cfg. CFG means configuration .xml. Because XML is XML type, so I have to write XML and click on finish. Now see, Hibernate CFG XML file is created. Now here I have to put the schema. You can put the schema Google Chrome, but I'll use from my dependencies. Here you click on your Maven dependencies. And here you go for Hibernate core 5.6.15. Click here. Again I am telling you how to do it. Go to Maven dependency and click on Hibernate core 5.6.15, and here org.hibernate. Click here and scroll down. Here you get Hibernate configuration -3.0. Click here. This 10 to 12 is here. You see, line number 10 to 12 is the schema of Hibernate configuration. So I'm just copy this three line, Control C, and going to close this file and paste it in my hibernate.cfg.xml file. Paste. So my schema is ready. And now I'm going to close this org.hibernate and Maven dependencies. Okay. Here you have to write Hibernate configuration. Hibernate configuration, click here. And next we have to write session factory. In session factory, we have to write the property. I have to use 7 property. First, I have to write the connection.driver underscore class. Property first, I will write the connection dot driver underscore class property, and here you pass MySQL com.mysql.jdbc driver com.mysql.jdbc.driver. If you have not seen my previous video, please see my previous video. On that video, I have given the details how to configure this hibernate.cfg.xml. The link I have given in my description box. The first property, I have write the driver, connection driver. And next property, I will write connection URL. Again, property. And here you write connection.url and pass MySQL colon JDBC colon MySQL colon /localhost and your DB name. Here I am going to pass local JDBC colon MySQL colon /localhost MySQL server port number 3306 and DB name. Here I am giving my DB name is round DB and then put the question mark, and I'll write here create database if not exit is equal to true. Here I write create database if not exit is equal to true. If RAMDB is not there, please remember it. You have to remember this 7 line. And after that, I have to write one more property. Username, connection.username. My username is root, because my SQL username is always root, by default root. And next property, I have to write the password also. Property, and I write connection.password, and you write your password. My password is admin. And next you have to write property name dialect. Property dialect, and here you write pass org.hibernate.dialect.mysql 5 dialect. Here I have to pass org.hibernate.dialect.mysql 5 dialect. So you can ask why you using dialect. Dialect is a Hibernate configuration property. It generates SQL statement for particular database. If you do not specify dialect, then Hibernate may fail to determine the appropriate SQL syntax to use, and you will get the runtime error. That's why I am going to use dialect. Property name hbm2ddl.auto property, and here you write hbm2ddl.auto, and here you pass create. Now you see here I have used property name hbm2ddl.auto create, and I pass the create property. For create, it will drop and create the table. If you write update, then alter and create. If you write validate, it will check the mapping schema XML file. And if you write create and create dash drop, then it will drop and create drop, create drop. If you create table, drop existing table, and new create a fresh table. And if you write update, alter the table if exist, and if does not exist the table, it will create the new table when you write the update. When you write the create, then it will drop the existing table and create a fresh new table. If you write validate the table, the validate existing table schema with mapping schema, mapping column must be there under table column, then no issue. Mapping column count can be less than or equal table column count, then no issue. If mapping column count is greater than table column count, then it will get column not found exception. So you see, if mapping column count is greater than the table column count, then it will be get column not found. And create drop table. Drop table if exist. Create new table. Drop existing table. When SF session factory dot close is called session factory, and it requires if application is testing mode. It requires when you do a create drop. Okay, now here I am going to write hbm2ddl.auto. I am pass create because I have to create the table. And next property I have to write property. Here I am going to write show SQL. Here write show SQL and pass true. Okay. And next mapping class. Mapping. Here you write class is equal to com dot create knowledge dot student, because you see, because I have created a student class. Here my package name is com.crk. That's why I write mapping class com.crk.student. Here I have to put the inverted comma. Okay. Now it is complete. And save it. So my hibernate.cfg.xml. Now I'm going to close this hibernate.cfg.xml file. Close it. Save. Okay. Now I'm now going to see the app.java. Here by default, Hibernate has created a app.java class. App means application file. So I have not required this line. Now I'm going to delete. And system.out.print also not required. So I'm now going to delete it. Here I have to configure the session factory. Here I'm going to write configuration config is equal to new configuration. You have to remember this 5 line. Configuration config is equal to new configuration, and here it. Okay. And next line I'll write, config.configure and pass your configuration file name. My configuration file name is hibernate.cfg.xml. And next line you write, session factory is equal to config.build session factory. You have to remember this line, please. Session factory is equal to new session factory is equal to config.build session factory. You have to write it. You have to write config.build session factory. And next time you write session is equal to factory.open session. Session is equal to factory.open session. Factory.open session. And the next line you write transaction tx is equal to session.being transaction. Transaction tx is equal to session.being transaction. Session.begin transaction. And now I have to remove the error. So first I have to import transaction org.transaction org.hibernate session org.hibernate session factory org.hibernate and config. You have to write it manually that import org.hibernate dot cfg dot configuration dot configuration. Okay. Here you have to write manually import org.hibernate.cfg.configuration. Now you see all error has been removed. Now you see if I run this project, then you will see just I am going to run this project. Run as Java application. And you see here, after writing the session factory and configuration, it has automatically created a, you see, Hibernate drop table if exist Hibernate sequence, Hibernate drop table student 001. And if I show you in MySQL Workbench, you can see the table. Just minimize this window. One thing, after writing this configuration and session factory, it has already it automatically created the database table. You see, it has created student 001 database table. And if I go see the MySQL Workbench, this is my MySQL Workbench, open it, and I put the password is admin. Now see, one RAMDB is created, as I have mentioned here, as I have created in XML, hibernate.cfg.xml. Here, I have created database RAMDB in the name of RAMDB. This RAMDB is created. Here, you click on RAMDB and click on table. Here you see the student 001. Here my table name is student student 001. Student 001, here it has created a table, student 001, but there is no data here. And you see student role, admission date, as I mentioned here, student, column name, student role, column name, student name, column name, student age, column name, date admission, all are here. Student role, admission date, student age, attendance, and student name also. Okay. Now I am going to fill the data on my app.java class. App.java. Here I am going to write student stu, student stu is equal to new student, student stu is equal to new student, and stu dot set name, stu dot set name, set name is, I am giving the name is Suresh Kumar, as the name Suresh Kumar, and stu dot set age, age is integer type, I am writing 17, and stu dot set gender, I am write male, and stu dot set admission date. This is new date. Here I am going to write new date. Here I have to import date Java util, and I write admission date stu dot set attendance, stu dot set attendance, true. Now he is present, so I write true. And then next, here I have to write session dot save stu, because here I have to write to save the data, so I write session dot save stu, and I have to write tx transaction dot commit. Here write transaction tx dot commit, and session dot close, and write, I am going to write here session dot close, and I'll pass a message system dot out dot print ln that record saved successfully. Here I am going to write system dot out dot print, system dot out dot print ln record saved successfully. Record saved successfully. Okay, and going to save it. Now again I am going to run my project and I see the database. What is going to happen? Right click here, app.java, right click, run as Java application. First I am going to show you in my console. Here you see hibernate drop table exit sequence, and here giving the all message here. Okay, student role integer type, not null, admission date. Okay, now I am going to see my MySQL database. Go to MySQL database. Here I am going to refresh it, and Now I'm going to click student 001 and you see student roll number automatically generated 1. Admission date, today date is 9th January. Student age 7. Attendance is Y money present. And student name is Suresh Kumar. Now in hibernate.cfg.xml, here I am going to write update. In place of create, I am going to write update. Now see, here I have written HDF PDL1 auto. I have written here update. And here I am going to change the name Monica Kumari, age 18, female. Okay, now see the data what happened. Now I am going to run the program, run as Java application, and issue record save successfully. I am going to open my MySQL workbench. Here, go to student 001, and you see here Monica Kumari is there, Suresh is there. So it is now going to update here. And now, but you see here it is not showing the gender. Now I am going to do one thing. Now I am going to here in place of persistence. You see here I have written in gender transient. If I block this transient double slash, so transient is now I block the transient. Now I am going to save and you show you the what happened. And again I am going to run the application. Run as Java application. And you see what happened. Here I am going to refresh it. And again I am click my student 001. Here you see gender, it is showing female. It is showing null. Now it is showing female. So if you put the transient, then it will not show, but data will be there. Okay. Now one more thing I am telling you. You see here I have given the table name student 001. So if I put the table name student 002, you can rename the table student 002. What happened? I am going to write the student table name is student 002 and going to save it. And again I am going to run my project, run as Java application. Okay, now I am going to open my MySQL workbench and refresh. You see here DB table is student 002 is also created. Student 002 is created, but here you see the data, only one data is there. That is Monica Kumari, gender female, attendance yes, admission date is today's day, and student roll number. Now you see student roll number is 5. In student table 1, here 1, 2, 3 and student 002, here you got the student roll number is 5. So roll number is automatically incrementing. So I think now you have understand how to use annotation in Hibernate annotation, how to use the Hibernate annotations and how to configure the hibernate.cfg.xml in Hibernate operation. So now you have learned how to change the table name, how to write the column name, and you can see the column name also change. Student, whatever the name I put, student underscore roll, admission underscore date, student underscore age, attendance, gender, and student. And you see here I have written also column name, student underscore roll, student underscore name, student underscore age. So all column name is there. So now I think You have understand the how to use annotations and how to configure the hibernate.cfg.xml. If you have any doubt, please write me in my comment section. I'll definitely give you a reply. And if you want any further video, please let me know what type of video you want. In Hibernate, I will make another 2 and 3 video for you for details of Hibernate program. Thanks a lot for watching my video. Thanks a lot. Thanks. Please don't forget to subscribe my channel. If you subscribe my channel, it will be helpful for me for creating this type of video. Thanks a lot. Thanks.